Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, F Hamas
posted something online that we believe is spreading racial hatred.
Twitter, Facebook,
I can't explain too much. It's just to give you the context beforehand.
It'll be put to your interview.
Because I appreciate you've never been arrested before, have you?
Yeah, once or twice.
Once or twice, apologies.
Frequent flyer.
Apologies, I didn't think you were. Basically, how it works now is then, obviously, if you've got stuff you'd like to gather, obviously I'm more than willing to talk through what you're able to take with you.
What, you're taking me away now?
Yes, so you're under arrest, so you're going to Harrogate, unfortunately.
You're taking me to Harrogate in the middle of the night over a tweet?
I am, unfortunately.
A post including those two words got a man arrested for stirring up racial hatred over a social media post. In fact, he never actually wrote those two words I just said. He posted a picture of a Palestine flag that had been mocked up and shared by multiple accounts from what I can gather, by the way. The full picture said this: F Palestine, F Hamas, F Islam. Want to protest? F off to a Muslim country and protest. Now, I think that's vulgar, by the way. I do think it's vulgar. And the man said he stood by the contents of his post, and the officers questioned him on whether he knew that Tommy Robinson had also shared the image online. And I just don't understand, what on earth does Tommy Robinson have to do with a post and people being arrested for it? It makes no sense, and if it's true, it's absolutely preposterous. Now, you might find that meme, that picture, distasteful and offensive, but isn't it your God-given right to be able to offend people in this country? It wasn't targeting a specific person. In fact, it was mostly targeted, from my perspective, at those supporting Hamas and radical Islamism. Obviously, the police's hate crime team, which is mad it even exists in the first place, frankly, disagree with me. But it follows a slew of high-profile arrests and police investigations over social media in the last couple of years. Graham Linehan, one of the most recent, of course, where he was arrested by armed police at an airport in London because of tweets about transgender ideology. Of course, we can't forget Lucy Connolly, who spent more than a year in prison for her tweet over the Southport riots, and also Alison Pearson, who was investigated by the police for a tweet. Over 12,000 arrests for social media posts. That puts us at more than Russia, an authoritarian dictatorship we are at war with. And how much of a waste of police time is this? Well, Lord Toby Young, the Secretary-General of the Free Speech Union, said this: the police arrest over 30 people a day for offensive social media posts. And as such, 1 in 10 end up being prosecuted. So a massive waste of time, in my opinion, 1 in 10. But here's the real gut punch, the creeping horror that ties all of this together. 2 words: digital ID. Starmer's shiny new Trojan horse. How many years away is it until your social media is directly linked to your compulsory Brit card? How long until the government can use a computer to immediately lock you out of your bank account, deactivate the electric car you've been forced to own, all because you posted one wrong word about Hamas, Hezbollah, or the endless war in the Holy Land? This is censorship's slow strangulation. The UK's liberal elite are not sliding into authoritarianism, they are sprinting towards it. And Big Brother doesn't just watch anymore, it preempts, he punishes, he erases, and he arrests you for wrong speak. We must usher in a political revolution as soon as we can. Nothing else will satisfy this. We must have leaders who are willing to row back on the decades of the slow march to tyranny. Because I'm telling you now, although the following video is AI, this is what I think the future awaits.
Sorry, but I'm afraid you've already eaten an ounce of beef this week. Your Brit card says no. Sorry, sir, but your Brit card has informed us that you have already flown twice this year. You cannot fly anymore.
I've just logged in with my Brit card and it's saying I've already had 4 hours of internet today and it's locked me out.
It's a terrifying prospect, isn't it? Absolutely terrifying. And many of you at home will find it terrifying.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living. And maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
To talk about this, I'm joined by my panel, Linda Jubilee, Peter Blexley and Diane Hayter. OK, let's get cracking, shall we, Peter? I am vehemently opposed to Britcard, but I want to start with this social media arrest, yet another one. And Lord Toby Young put it pretty stark, 1 in 10 of those ends up in a prosecution. So something's going wrong here.
Well, you mentioned Big Brother in your monologue. I love statues. If somebody wants to get on the tube to Oxford Circus in central London, a 10-minute walk away from there is the BBC headquarters. And there is a beautiful statue, of course, of George Orwell outside, with an inscription on the wall, a quote of Orwell's, and it says, "If liberty means anything, it means the right to tell people what they don't want to hear." And it is beautifully encapsulated, I think, this whole argument in that. I've looked at this meme, I've pored over it, and in my considered opinion, it does not break the law. As you point out, some may consider it vulgar, but you can hear exactly that kind of language being echoed in pubs and clubs and the length and breadth of the country. Many people feel that way. It is astonishing and appalling that the police do not understand the law and that they rock up at a man's house and arrest him.
It really is a terrifying, slow creep to tyranny, in my opinion, Linda, because, you know, look, I appreciate that people will find that picture offensive, but you should have a right to offend people in this country, whether they like it or not. And whilst I wouldn't share it personally, as Peter correctly pointed out, this will be repeated in words in pubs up and down the country, whether people like it or not, but we can only patrol the social media.
And that's what being in a democracy is all about. It is having the right to offend someone. It's even fighting for the right to offend someone. I mean, this is quite extraordinary that the police should be actually knocking on this door, this guy's door, in the middle of the night. I mean, that sort of behaviour is normally reserved for drug traffickers or people traffickers or whatever. I don't really understand why they had to go to these lengths. And Peter's quite right. I doubt that any of the officers involved in that door knock properly understood the law. I mean, it's rude, it's offensive language, it's nasty, but did it actually incite violence or racial hatred? And that's what needs to be tackled, is the police need to actually understand the law that they are implementing. That's what would help matters enormously.
Diane, of all crimes, 5.7 of them have been solved. That means they've ended up in some sort of court summons or a charge. This is a tremendous waste of police time. Nobody is hurt, nobody's injured. Yes, they might be offended, but is this really where our police should be spending their time?
Of course not. Of course not. I mean, I live in the middle of London and we've got antisocial behaviour. And, you know, if only we could get the police out that quickly and arresting people in the middle of the night, I have to say I'd be cheering them on. I really would. There's something really gone wrong here. I have to disagree with something you said in the intro. You said this was a God-given right to say. I think actually Linda's much more accurate. This is our democracy, and it is democracy, and we fought for the right for free speech, and we should not let that go. But there's something wrong in our police forces. We set up this score, the Tories set up the system of police commissioners, which I thought would make the police more accountable. And it's an issue like that where you have to say there are elected police commissioners. What are they doing in their priority for the use of police time, which is, you know, all too scarce, to say, yeah, go and arrest someone for that. But what about the kids who are, you know, stealing bicycles, stealing this, that and the other?
Shoplifting.
So I think, shoplifting's a real problem for shop workers. They're really frightened.
Yeah.
You know, they really are.
So
I think there are some policy issues that people in positions of authority need to look at and take decisions
on. A personal note, I mean, I live in a sleepy little town on the banks of the Thames, and the shop opposite me is invaluable, run by a father and a daughter. And they are terrified because they're getting youngsters in there all the time threatening them. The door's been bricked in. The police don't come. The police don't sort it out. I've told the MP about it. She's very concerned. But while that kind of stuff is going on, we shouldn't be waking people up in the middle of the night when we are failing to tackle the personal crimes that really matter to people.
Peter, I want to put this to you because what I see is this sort of ping-pong between the police and the government. One minute we've got Mark Rowley, the chief of the Met, saying to the government, "Oh, you need to tell us so we put some legislation out or reverse this," and then you've got the Prime Minister going, "Stop policing the tweet." Who is to blame here? Because the public are left scratching their heads. I mean, who do they speak to? The police commission? Do they speak to the Prime Minister? How does this end?
Ultimately, it's the police who are to blame for this. It's them who task their officers to go and knock on people's front doors. And if you listen to that clip in its entirety very carefully, you'll hear that hapless officer who's sent to make the arrest says that the team has looked at it and thinks there are offences. Well, that team should be disbanded. They don't know the law. Policing is in crisis. Disband the College of Police, get rid of the National Police Chiefs Council and put people in charge who lead, not manage.
Yeah, because this is this division, this hate crime division, which makes me laugh because realistically, there are particularly here in London, there's a rape an hour. There's a rape an hour happening, and we've got a whole division targeting, clearly worrying about what's going on in social media, but not to tackle, not to really double down on the crimes that really affect people day to day.
What I couldn't understand is last week, I think it was, I was watching a clip where the policeman actually said to the guy, "Now, I think you need to go and apologise to this person you've insulted."
That's right.
I mean, that is so ridiculous.
Police telling you to apologize. It's like teacher, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like teacher. I've never seen anything like it, Diane. I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? British people are now being treated like school children.
Well, to some extent, I mean, I agree. You know, people who are responsible are those at the high-ups who run the police, and that's what we should be doing. But what is quite right is that we all have to say this is not acceptable. We don't want this doing on our behalf. We want the police doing what we all expect them to do. You've mentioned about retail trade, but there are other things as well. There's car theft, bicycle thefts, and things like that. But I don't think we should talk about a crisis in police force. You know, you've got, and quite rightly, brought up some examples that we all say is appalling. But actually, a lot of the police, a lot of the time, are doing really good work.
There is a crisis in policing, Diane. There is a crisis in policing.
We don't underestimate and undermine a lot of the bobbies who are doing really good work.
There's a crisis in policing, and to deny that is denying the truth. They can't recruit in sufficient numbers. They cannot retain. They've got more officers resigning than retiring now. They are led by clowns, by the idiotic College of Policing. A liberal kind of mindset has infiltrated the progressives, as they see themselves, that lead policing. It's absolutely bang on.
Linda, because I wanted to talk about digital ID as well, because I see this sort of move to everything being digitised, everything. And I showed that clip at the end there because my fear is that you say something like this bloke said online, and all of a sudden, because it's all attached to digital ID, bam, everything's shut down.
Well, look, I feel as though I might be swimming against the tide on this one, because I have said on GB News and on another news channel just this morning that I don't have a problem with digital IDs. I won't campaign to get them introduced, but I don't have a problem. I lived for in Hong Kong for 5 years, where I had my own my own card, my ID card, and it proved to be very useful. In this country, I'm heartily sick of having an NHS number, an NI number, a UTR number, a VAT number.
But isn't that different to digitising it? Isn't that different? Giving you
they're all
card.
digitised. All those things involved digital entry into the NHS.
Are you not worried about some Tin Pot tyrant coming in and saying, actually, I'm just going to weaponise this against the public?
We've already got one. What do you mean coming in? He's already in 10 Downing Street.
I did the media training for the clinical leads, all the medics, when patient records were digitised. It took nearly 10 years. Okay. We could be talking about this now, but it is never going to come in inside of 5 years.
The medical stuff has been wonderful. I've got a sick husband and he's fabulous. You go into, you suddenly have a problem, you go into hospital and they've got all the records there. It is wonderful. But I mean, the people are going to say, your example about they could stop your car driving, actually it's going to be the big retailers who can do that, or it'll be the Chinese chips that are in there. So I think that,
you socialists love control. You love control. Control the minions, control the people. That is what this is about. A digital, compulsory ID held by the government. This must be stopped, and it'll be Starmer's poll tax moment.
This is really silly.
It won't solve the problem with the immigrants.
Correct.
It's completely... the whole thing is unnecessary. The whole thing, it solves zero problems in this country, and it's going to cost us billions. The only person it really helps, let's face it, is Tony Blair. Anyway, North Yorkshire police have said this. Following receipt of a report, a man was arrested yesterday on suspicion of publishing or distributing written material intended to stir up racial hatred. He has been released on bail while inquiries continue. All right.